Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Florence Amarebu. How are you guys doing? Hope you all are doing great. So guys, today's video I'll be showing us how to cut Igbo blouse. So before we go ahead, I want to appreciate each and every one of us. Thank you for supporting your girl. Thank you. For the first thing I went ahead to do was to get the baseline where we'll be starting off our measurement. So I will be going ahead to take the neck width. The next one I'll be taking right now is the neck depth. Using the French curve, I will connect the line, the points. Next, I will go ahead to get the shoulder measurement, which is 19. We divide shoulder by 2. Add sewing allowance, ½ inch to sewing allowance. At the shoulder, I will be coming down by 1 inch, which will serve as the shoulder slant. I will use a straight ruler to connect the shoulder slant to the neck width. At the shoulder slant, I will be coming down by 9 inches to get the armhole curve. And at that point, I will make a straight line that will serve as the chest line. After that, I will be getting the bust point from shoulder to the top of the nipple. That will serve as the bust line. The length I had there is 11.5. I will use the ruler to connect the points. The next line I will be getting is the under bust, which is 16 inches. I will get 2 points and I will connect it with a straight ruler. Next is the waistline, which is 19 inches. Next, from the waist, I will be going down by 8.5 inches, depending on how tall your client is. So I'm using 8.5 for the hip line. I will be getting the length of the blouse, which is 27 because my client is tall. I will mark that 27. You can see that my length of the blouse is almost at the hip length. So I will mark the length, which is 27. Then next, I will square up the armhole so as to create my curve. Getting the midline of the armhole, which is 9 inches, that gives us 4.5. I will be going in by 0.5 at the midline of the armhole. Now I will be getting the bust measurement. I will be imputing the circumference of my bust at the chest line so as to curve the armhole. Using the French curve, I will connect that measurement to the 0.5 we went in, and I will connect that 0.5 to the shoulder slant. Now I'll be getting the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches plus ½ inch for sewing allowance, which is 4.5. Starting from the bust line, I will mark out my 4.5 and I will connect that straight to down to the length of the blouse. Now with that, I will connect that line, the nipple to nipple measurement, to meet at the midline of the armhole that we have created. Now I'm just removing any sharpness from the bust point. At the under bust, I'll be taking 0.75. I will connect those points down to meet the length of the blouse. On the other side of the under bust, I will be taking 2 inches and I will connect the points to meet the length of the blouse. Remember, I'm taking I'm starting it at the under bust. Now I will now connect that point to meet at the bust point. Using my French curve, just as you see me do so, I will use it to connect from the under bust, connect it to the bust point. I noticed that the curve I had before initially is not that good, so I went in back with the French curve to create a nice curve for the bust. So at the midpoint of the armhole, I'll be going down 1 by 1.5 inch. I will now connect that curve, the bust curve, to meet at that 1.5 inch that we came down, like so. At that same point, I will extend it out. I will extend it out by 1.5 inch because we don't want, by the time we are stitching, we don't want that we don't want it to be short. You know, if you don't create that 1.5, it will run short. So at this point, we'll know we're going to have another armhole curve because of that extension we had, the 1.5. So I will now connect it to the chest line. Now I will input the circumference of the bust line, which is 41 inches divided by 4 gives us 10.25. I added the 3.5 inches. At the under bust, which is 38 inches divided by 4, I will add the midline that I will be cutting out. You can see the way I'm measuring it out. That is 3 inches. I will add that, and I will add the seam allowance. I will do the same at the waist line. I will input the circumference, add the one I will be cutting out, which is 3 inches, add the seam allowance. I will do same at the hip measurement also, after which I will connect the points. I want to cut out the yoke using a 7.5 at the, I don't want it so deep to be showing. I will use my French curve, use that to connect to the armhole that we created with the curve. Just as you see me do so, I will use that and connect it at that point. At the side of the blouse, I just want to give it a kind of curve. I don't want it to be straight. I want it to have a kind of curve a little bit. So I'll be going up by 1 inch. I will connect it to the length of the blouse. I'm just trying to curve it out, having the length of the blouse and the seam allowance also. Now I will be cutting it out. We're done with the cutting of the Igbo blouse. That is the yoke. Now I'll be cutting the back just similar to the front. The shoulder length, which is 19, neck width 3 inches, but at this time the shoulder depth, the neck depth, the neck depth I will not be using. I use the 2.5 because my client doesn't want the neck to be that wide. So I will be going down the same thing, what we did, shoulder slant, 1 inch shoulder slant, connect it to this neck width, basically the same thing, the chest line. I'll just go ahead and take all the lines, the chest line, the bust line, the under bust line, the waistline, the length of the blouse, the hip line. I will just take all those same measurement and connect with a straight line. Going down for the hip, 8.5 inches, the same thing. I will connect from the waistline, mark my 8.5, and I will connect it with a straight line. The length of the blouse, which is 27, I will have 2 points and connect the points together. At this point, I'll be taking the half midline of the armhole, which is 4.5, and I will impute my circumference, my bust circumference, so as to create my armhole curve to connect to the midpoint of the armhole. I will just input my circumference, bust circumference, under bust circumference, waist circumference, and the hip circumference. Adding my seam allowance, 2 inches or 1.5 inches, whichever one. At this point, I will now connect those points to have the shape of the blouse. At this point, we'll be creating the dart. So I will just be using the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches divided by 2. Add your seam allowance, which is 4.5. I will create that and I will make a straight line, starting it from the bust line. At the waistline, I took half inch on both sides and I went up by 5.5 inches. At that point, I will use the ruler to connect to the waistline, slanting it in that way, the way you see me do. And I will go down by 4 inches. I will connect from the half inch on the waistline to that point also. At the zipper allowance, remember we have 1 inch zipper allowance. I'll be coming in by ½ inch or 0.75 just to eliminate any puffy look at the back. So because I'll be cutting that out, most times I'll always transfer any elimination to on the other side so as not to run short when sewing. So I will just transfer that 0.75 or 0.5, whichever one you want to take. I will just transfer that to the side of the blouse. Now I'll be doing the same thing to the back, because we had it in the front to curve it at the edge. We don't want it to look just straight. We want to have a kind of curvy at the down part of it. So I'll be going up by 1 inch, just the same thing I did in the front. Now I want to cut the yoke. Just as I said earlier, my client doesn't want it that low, so I took 7.5 inches and I'll just connect straight to the armhole, just like so. And now after that we're done, and I will cut it out, and that is it, guys. If you have watched up to this point and you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please turn on your bell notification to get notified each time I upload a new video, and you will see something interesting. I make sewing tutorials, I do drafting. Turn on your bell notification to get notified each time I upload a new video, and please leave me a comment in the comment section. If you find this video useful, please give me a huge thumbs up, and let's meet down in the comment section. And that is the way it's looking, guys. And I will go ahead and cut it out on the fabric. This is the fabric I will be using, the Indian fabric. I will go ahead, because I'll be using this net to cut it out. I will just go ahead with the lining. That is it, guys. See you all in my next video. Bye bye.